What's up, everybody? Welcome to Fourth and Goal. Dave, week one, NFL is here. Tomorrow night, we're going to kick off. Pretty excited. How are we feeling? We're the weekly injury digest for you guys. We're going to cover all the injuries this week going into week one. A couple of big updates, couple of good news, couple of iffy. We'll definitely get started on that soon. So, Dave, what are you looking forward to this season?
I'm just looking for some exciting football. It seems like there's a lot of pretty solid teams throughout the league that, hey, everyone's got a fresh slate. Everyone's 0-0. Everyone's got a fair shot at this thing. Let's just hope there's no major injuries in week one. I feel like inevitably there's always like one big one that always happens in week
Every
one.
year.
Every year, really, right? And it's not even like something soft tissue. It's like a significant injury, season ending. I'm very excited. We're feeling great about all of our fantasy teams. And my Eagles are kicking off tomorrow night, so hopefully they can get that dub and start 1-0 against their hated
Well,
rivals.
8.5 point favorite. So we'll see what happens there. And I know most of the folks have drafted their team. I know there's probably a handful of folks who are drafting tonight, but we'll still like keep you guys updated every week. So that being said, Dave, let's get started. Some big ones, of course. Devon Achane has been kind of the biggest running back who's kind of like projected to go late first round preseason, and then injury happens, but looks like he's going to play week one. And their backup Jalen Wright's injured, and Gordon's probably going to take that spot. He's been pretty hot in the draft lately. A lot of people picking Gordon as their bench player. So what do we expect from Achan? I think it's going to be a split backfield. I'm just wondering like how the calf injury is going to affect him.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, again, this is purely speculative, but dealing with a calf injury pretty much the entire season or preseason, I should say. I think I mentioned last week, I think we all, have fears of what happened to CMC last year. There wasn't a lot of clarity, so, that really dragged on. This one we have clarity. He's back practicing. Like you mentioned, he was at the beginning of summer, maybe a first round, end of the first round pick. His ADP has slipped more to like the middle of the second round.
Mhm.
Assuming he can stay healthy, not always a guarantee, of course, with the rigor of an NFL season. I think they may ease him into it, kind of like what you're saying, maybe trying to divvy up some carries and touches between him and Ollie Gordon. I still like Achane to produce because if you look at the Dolphins' offense, they don't really have a lot outside of Tyreek, Waddle, and Achane, right? So I think he still has some decent opportunities to, rushing, receiving. So I do still like Achane to produce, but high value asset. But keep in mind, probably moderate re-injury risk, especially with those calves and an explosive player like himself.
Yep, moderate risk, moderate. I think it's a high ceiling. If he smashes, he's gonna be awesome. And you forgot Darren Waller, the Titan one on paper. They signed him this offseason. Hasn't like I don't know. He's been like they're slowing him, easing him into practice, but I don't know. I don't know how effective he's gonna be. I think it's just I don't think it. No one's drafting him, but since you mentioned the Dolphins, I'm bringing Waller up.
Yeah, I mean, could he have a decent season? Yeah, but remember, he was out of football last year. We don't really know what Darren Waller has left. So could he produce? Yeah, sure. But he hasn't for a few years now, and he hasn't been able to stay healthy for a few years to that point. So, Darren Waller, I mean, personally, I'm out on, him or anything. Maybe a name to, flag in your waiver wire queue. Like, okay,
After
yeah, if
week
he
one, if he
yeah.
performs.
Yeah, if he pops off, week one, that could be something. And, circling back real quick, you mentioned Jalen Wright. He had some type of surgery procedure. We don't really know. He's going to be out for a little bit of time. So that Ollie Gordon RB2 in Miami is going to extend for a little period of time. But yeah, Darren Waller, not practice. I think, he was just activated, like you said. They're going to slowly ramp him up. He'll probably, play probably week one, like you mentioned, but I don't really foresee them throwing him, 75, 80 snaps right away. I think he's going to be more like a part-time player for maybe the first month of the season or so.
Yeah. Let's sticking to running backs. The other ones, two major ones were Joe Mixon, which is still so shady, and Tyjae Spears, who's placed on IR. He's going to miss 4 weeks. He's going to come back. He'll be backing up Tony Pollard. But let's touch on Joe Mixon. Is he officially like? I think he's officially out for 4 games. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I mean, it's we don't know exactly what injury, right?
Yeah, not a lot of clarity. And like just like we were discussing with CMC a minute ago, when there's not a lot of clarity on the situation, my red flag is kind of up in that scenario. So you don't really know a lot. He's on the NFI list, so non-football
Yep.
injury. So it happened away from his job. So it happened somewhere. And he's out for the first, few games of the season. And like we mentioned last week, Nick Caserio, the general manager, was asked, "Hey, will Joe Mixon be ready after those four games?" And he said, "Well, we'll see." That
Hmm.
doesn't really sound too promising. So, backup is Nick Chubb, but again, he had that gruesome knee injury a couple years back. We don't know if he's going to be able to return to pre-injury form. And then, outside of that, um,
And
you
you can
know,
take a flyer on Woody Marks,
Woody
but I
Marks,
mean,
yeah, I mean they
it's
traded up to get him, but I mean that's a
still
late
a
waiver
rookie.
flyer. Yeah, still
Still
a
a
rookie. We don't
rookie.
really know. And Texans
Yeah.
offensive line isn't the greatest either.
Yep. And Najee Harris, that was the other big one. Dude was messing around with fireworks. Looks like he's going to play week one. There were reports that he might not, but he is playing week one. We're not sure. And looking at their offense, they're going to use a split backfield. I don't think Hampton's going to get like 80% of the rock or anything like that. Plus, they paid Harris like 6.25 guaranteed money. So I think they're gonna use him. We just don't know what the share is going to be. But I mean, he had an eye injury. So, in your experience, what can we expect from Harris with the eye injury and all those things happening around?
That sound that you hear is all the Amari and Hampton owners screaming into the empty void because they were hoping that this Najee Harris injury would
Yep.
linger a little while. But if he's cleared to play, Najee Harris, that means he's able to visually scan the field. There's no re-injury risk. And I agree with you. I think they're going to be more towards an even split in carries. I mean, remember the offensive coordinator, Greg Roman there. What was Roman known for in Baltimore? Running the ball, and rotating in multiple running backs. It is, very frustrating from a fantasy football perspective, but it's their way of saying, okay, we drafted and invested in this young rookie running back. 17-game season is a long season. We want to keep him fresh for the stretch run. We paid Najee Harris, so I think it's going to be more towards an even catered split. So, I mean, if you're spending a third, fourth, fifth round pick on Amari and Hampton, you are probably not happy right now.
Yep. And let's go to Green Bay a little bit. I know they signed Micah Parsons, pretty hot right now on the news. Jayden Reed, he's I don't know what's going to happen there. He should have a surgery, but I don't think he's going to have a surgery anytime soon, and he's probably going to play with the injury. I don't think he's going to be effective. They don't have many wide receivers who are fully healthy outside of Matthew Golden and their tight end Tucker Kraft, and Jordan Love himself had like a non-throwing arm injury, but I don't know how he'll be fine. I'm not too worried about that, but Jayden Reed and the wide receivers are going to be a challenge there. We'll see. I mean, their Super Bowl odds like went up pretty much after Micah Parsons.
Yeah, and I was looking at predictions today, and the Packers are a hot team to pick. Everyone's picking them, go to the conference championship, maybe even go and possibly win the Super Bowl. Um, like you mentioned, the possible, Jones fracture in the foot. Honestly, historically, based off of what I've seen and what I've treated, I've never really seen that be successful going the conservative route of non-surgery. It's just very unstable. You're having a lot of pain with running and cutting. It's better to just stabilize it. If he did have surgery, he would miss a large chunk of time. But in the long run, I think that would be better to him to getting back and performing at a high level versus just trying to manage it throughout the season. So again, Packers passing attack, we're not really sure. Matthew Golden seems like he's going to be, have a lot of volume and opportunities here. And you mentioned the Jordan Love thumb procedure, left thumb. He should be good to go. I think I read in reports that he was only in practice still handing it off with just one hand, his right arm. But hey, I mean, as long as he has decent ball security, that's really all you're asking for because it's his non-throwing hand. So it's only going to really affect him in the pocket ball security if he's getting, possible pass rush at his way.
Sticking with QBs, Matthew Stafford, he's playing. I mean, he's a warrior. He's going to play through it. But how long can the back last? I think that's the question. And with I mean, multiple reports, even Dr. Morse did a video, and he is fading with like Stafford, and that is going to affect Puka and Devontae Adams. So I think his injury does give a pause, But knowing Stafford, I think he's going to play through it. We'll see. We'll see how the back holds up, right?
Yeah, and I mean you're exactly right. I mean, it's one of those like you got to sit back and really assess how risky are you because remember Matthew Stafford upper 30s, getting closer to 40, so he's not going to be able to recover and bounce back as quickly as he would have 10 years ago. To that point, he is a warrior. He's been beat up throughout his career, but he still shows up on Sunday or Thursday or Monday and he plays. Um, but how effective will he be? We mentioned a couple weeks ago he's going through all the treatment options, getting laser therapy. But if he's forced to throw 30 plus times a game, that's a lot of torque and stress on his lower back, lumbar spine. It wouldn't be totally surprising. Like I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm saying it wouldn't be surprising if in a month or two time they're like, hey, Stafford had increased pain in his back, did an X-ray, did an MRI, showed like a stress fracture in his back. If that were to happen, that would be a long-term absence. Again, not saying it's going to happen, but I'm just saying season long, trying to manage what he's playing through, it could potentially happen down the road. So if that were to happen, that would just be absolutely devastating for the Rams across the board and have that trickle down effect to the skilled players like you were mentioning.
Yep. And kind of going down like all the wide receiver injuries, looks like Juwan Jennings is back. I don't know if that was a calf injury or more of a contract injury out there, but he's back and playing, trending towards playing week one. But the challenge is they just activated MVS scam to active roster. So that tells me he's probably not going to be used fully because Juwan Jennings did miss pretty good chunk of the preseason. And the other one, Malik Neighbors, he's fully cleared. He was not on the injury report anymore, and so he's all set to go. And just going down, Marvin Mims has a groin injury, but he's expected to play. He's their potential wide receiver too. We'll see how that goes with the Broncos. Darnell Mooney, he had a shoulder injury. He had like a pretty sneaky season last year, and Falcons didn't sign any other major big wide receiver, so he's still slated for wide receiver two. Shoulder injury looks like he's going to be back. He'll be playing week one, but we'll see how it goes. I think it might be more of a Drake London, Kyle Pitts show out at the Falcons. Jordan Addison, Rashi Rice, we know the suspension, so let's see what happens there. But so those are like the big injury updates. But I do want to ask you about a non-injury related stuff. Judkins, the running back, Browns. We can't say they signed him; they drafted him, but he has not practiced and he has not signed his contract. Let's say he even signs his contract because a lot of people drafted him with high expectations. RB1, he's not practiced. So what are the potential injury risks we're looking out there? Let's say he signs tomorrow or like in the next week or so. They're still waiting on the NFL's suspension. Like he's going to get suspended. We just don't know how many weeks.
Yep.
What are we expecting? Like a rookie running back coming out of college? What can we expect?
I think you got to temper your expectations first and foremost. Especially with, Joe Flacco being the starter there, you would anticipate teams are going to stack the box and really say, okay, Joe Flacco, try to beat us through the air. Quinshon Judkins, like you mentioned, likely going to get suspended for a domestic violence type incident that happened literally like right after he got drafted. So not the best thinking on his part, best decision making. However, the thing you're worried about is that ramp up period, and he's trying to play catch up, and then they have like a soft tissue injury, hamstring strain, calf strain, maybe even a quad or hip flexor or a groin strain. The soft tissue injuries are something that you're really worried about. Is that going to happen? Who knows? It could potentially happen. But right now, there's just a lot of uncertainty in that Browns backfield. Excuse me. Is it Jerome Ford? Is it Dylan Sampson? We don't really know. So personally, on me, I'm kind of adopting a wait and see approach when it comes to Cleveland's backfield because I would hate it if I invested a high or mid round pick in Quinshon Judkins or Dylan Sampson, and then all of a sudden, Jerome Ford leads with 25 carries week one. It's something. It's a kind of quagmire right now. I would say wait and see with the Browns
Yeah,
backfield.
yeah. I think it's going to be interesting and like good thing like we've not had any major injuries the last couple of days, so that's good news. And all the small niggles you've seen throughout the preseason training camp, everything's going to be said and done. All the players are going to play. Like folks like Justin Jefferson and all those like random injuries here and there, they were just like banged out. But everyone's going to play for week one. No major injuries so far. I think we touched upon most of the stuff. So we'll see how week one goes. Fingers crossed, no major injuries, Dave. And but we'll be here again next Wednesday covering all the major injuries you need to know. This is Fourth and Goal, your weekly injury digest, and we are here to keep your team healthy. So let's rock and roll, Dave. Good luck with your fantasy season, and good luck with your Eagles, I guess. We'll see. Repeat, maybe?
That would be amazing. I wouldn't say likely, but their schedule is crazy tough. But I'm gonna hope that they start off on the right foot, take it 1 week at a time. But yeah, good luck to you and your Seahawks as well and your fantasy
Let's
teams.
roll with it.
Do you
Yep.
have one? If you were in a survivor pool, who are you picking this week?
Go with Denver.
Yeah, I think Denver's a safe pick.
Denver
Rookie
is a safe.
quarterback, Cam
But
Ward.
I'm telling you, I think I mentioned this to my friend the other day. There's always like one team. Last year was the Bengals against the Patriots,
Yep,
and so many people picked the Bengals. So there's always going to be that one upset. So I think we don't know if it's going to be the Saints, Cowboys, or the Titans. So because
yep,
those are the three matchups where the point spread is like 6.5 to 8.5.
yep,
So it's going to be interesting. So we'll see. It'll be fun.
yep. It's gonna be fun, definitely. Everyone enjoy it. Good luck, and hope your team stay healthy.
Yep. Take care, guys. See you next
See
week.
ya.